Hey guys, mTraveler7 here. I know it's been quite a while since my last video. Basically, I've decided that since YouTube's new monetization requirements and channel growth and that, it's just way too high to try and accomplish that. So I decided that this channel is just going to be more so for just my travel videos and just my passion through travel, and that you're not going to get daily videos or weekly videos or anything. It's just going to be specifically on my travels whenever I do traveling, and that's why I'm here to announce my next trip. So this next trip is going to be the biggest and longest and most epic trip I have ever been on, and probably will ever be on in my life. There's quite a few places in the world I still want to go see, but I think this one is definitely going to be the #1 trip I will ever be on. So this trip, I won't be checking off any new countries. In fact, I'll be going back to 2 of my top 3 favorite countries in the world. And you can probably take a guess as to what you see behind me and what I'm wearing. And that is Australia and New Zealand. So I was last in Australia and New Zealand back in the winter of 2010-2011 when I was working for a cruise line. I absolutely fell in love with Australia. That's where I arrived first in Darwin, went down all along the east coast, and then went over to New Zealand and spent the winter in Australia and New Zealand. And I absolutely fell in love with New Zealand as well. And I decided that I wanted to go back to Australia and New Zealand because there were so many other areas that I didn't get to see. And last time I was there, I was just working. So even though I did some pretty cool activities, there's still a lot more that I wanted to see and do and experience. And a lot of the stuff that I want to do is very physically demanding. I leave in just under 3 months, and I'll be starting in Australia and then making my way over to New Zealand. I decided to travel with Kentucky in Australia. I'll be doing the Big Walkabout with sailing, a 24-day tour starting in Darwin and going through the outback down to Uluru. Then catching a flight to Cairns and going down the east coast through the Whitsundays, Fraser Island, and ending in Sydney. After the tour ends, I'm going to be spending a couple extra days in Sydney and then making my way down to Melbourne and staying with a friend who I met on Eastern Road, actually, down in Melbourne, spending a couple days down there, and then I'll be catching a flight to Auckland. So in New Zealand, I'll be traveling with Haka Tours, and we'll be doing 3 tours consecutively. The first tour is Bay of Islands, a 3-day trip to the north part of the North Island. Then I'll be on the Amplified New Zealand tour, a 16-day trip which starts in Auckland and goes through the entire North Island and South Island, with stops in Rotorua, Wellington, Christchurch, and Queenstown. My third tour will be on the South Island Amplified New Zealand 12-day tour, going back to several places on my previous tour, such as Queenstown, and checking out some new places, such as Abel Tasman. So there is quite a bit I'm really looking forward to on this trip. The wildlife, the scenery, New Zealand with Lord of the Rings, and checking off a couple things on my bucket list, for instance, skydiving. But this tour is so amazing. Like, there's so many activities on this tour. I'm going to be doing a 2-day sail around the Great Barrier Reef, which means I'm actually sleeping on on a catamaran or a similar boat like that. Trekking through the outback, catching the sunrise and sunset at Uluru, that big giant rock that's in the outback there. Skydiving, whitewater rafting, checking out all the great scenery in New Zealand, trekking through Mordor, I'm really looking forward to that. Going to Hobbiton, and yeah, there's going to be so many activities to see and do. So I'm still deciding on how I'm going to film this trip. On my last trip, Eastern Road and European Discovery, it was only a 2-week, so I did a video for each day of the trip. There's going to be days where there's going to be not much to film, and there's going to be days where there's so much to film. I'm kind of deciding either we're going to do a video a day or just like a big feature movie on this, and divide it up into several parts. So I'm still deciding on that. I'm also going to be getting a GoPro. and I am even considering shooting the whole entire trip in 4K. I still have to do some testing and make sure that my equipment can handle all that, considering I'm going away for 2 months. There's going to be a lot of footage. That's my big new trip that I'm going on. 2 months Australia, 1 month New Zealand, 1 month, and I'm going to have an absolute blast down there.